Hey Janine, welcome. You guys, let me know if the video quality is suffering. The location may not be very good, so I'm hoping the signal is good enough. Hopefully the signal is good enough. Good morning, good morning. Wonderful to have you here. There is some running water behind me coming down a hillside that makes its way down to this lake. This is Shadow Lake in Snohomish, Washington. I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking, at least I don't think I am. We're coming up on sunrise, and I'm going to put the phone down. I got a little tripod. Right now you're looking through the iPad, but we also have another shot that I'm going to show you, and I'm just going to let the natural sounds take over. Out there in the distance is where all the swans are gathered, and they will be leaving over the next, well, throughout the morning. I just watched as we started this scope. I think I saw 3 fly off. They didn't come right towards us, but let's give it a shot. Let's go to the other camera. Thomas, thank you for sharing, Tom. The sunrise will be over in this direction. And you can see I'm kind of in a fog bank. Before I came down into the valley, I could see the fog down below, and now I'm in the fog. If we tilt up, you'll see there's some blue sky up there. Yeah, I'm going to put this down. Let's go to the other camera for a moment. That's looking at the far end of the lake. So please don't mistake my silence for me trying to be rude or anything, but I'm going to also try and get some still shots, so you will hear my camera clicking, I imagine. I'm hoping we see the sun burn through the fog here when it comes up. That'll produce a little bit of steam on the water as well. There are a lot of swans at the far end of the lake out there. I don't know how well you might or might not be able to hear them, given the fact that I have this running water coming down the slope behind me into the lake. But it's my aim to, let's see if we can zoom in a little bit and make anything out. More daylight is coming through, and those swans will light up at the far end of the lake here shortly. Yeah, there's some good steelhead in Washington State. Again, I'm not going to be very talkative on this scope compared to my normal self anyway, because I'm trying to get some stills as well with my DSLR camera. And I just want you to be able to hear the sounds. And once they start taking off in their waves, which they do throughout the morning, we'll call it the fly out, okay? They fly out of here in the morning to go to nearby fields. So I'm not going to be able to see all your comments. Just please understand that that's a deliberate approach in this particular scope, not my normal one, because I'm usually pretty verbose. We all know that. Anyhow, enjoy the sounds. We just had some take off. They didn't come into our field of view. But we'll get them next time. I'm handheld now on the gimbal. I know the shot's a little crooked, but this is the setup right now. Here's the setup. Okay, we got some, I hear them. Where are they in the fog there? There they go off into the fog. And it's like that flight after flight. Sometimes they come right at us. hard to get a focus on them in the fog right now. So I kind of see their preferred flight path today. So we're going to move the iPad with hopes of capturing a bit more of that. So the reason I switched to what might seem like a less compelling shot, oh, I think I just saw some go by or shot, is because where I'm pointed at right now, that's where they tend to gather when they're about to take off. So initially where I showed you the large cluster to the left, what they tend to do is group up there, and then some will break away and swim a little bit off to the right, and then take off. And right before they take off, they do a lot of head bobbing, although I must confess I haven't really been able to observe that because of the fog. But it's amazing how they just start bobbing their head up and down, up and down, up and down, lengthening their neck, crunching it down, up and down, right before they take off. Sometimes they even get what almost appears to be a single file. So it's pretty cool. And when they take off, they just, if you're familiar with swans, they make for a very brief period of time, It's like trying to run on water, and it looks very uncoordinated and sounds kind of chaotic. But just as soon as it happens, it's over, and they're on a low, smooth path just above the water, and then they rise and fly off to the fields. It's just beautiful. We're just inside the fog. There's just a low band of fog over the valley right now. You can see that blue sky up above. Fog is really lifting now. You hear all that clamor, that means they're getting ready to, some of them to move along. Well, wasn't that right on cue, my friends? Just as I went live, we had a group fly toward us. Welcome to Shadow Lake. In a semi-foggy morning in Snohomish, Washington, about 30 miles north of Seattle. This is where many trumpeter swans spend the evening, and a few other birds. Many of the swans have already left this morning and have left for the nearby farm fields. Thanks, Kit. And you'll see them leaving now in group after group. And here we go. Three pairs just left. Nice triple tall. Triple tall, I can't wait to have some coffee with you shortly. Again, many of them have already left, but there's still quite a few out there. Now here's the cool thing about this lake. I've mentioned this a lot of times in my scopes. A lot of times we're scoping in the evening and I'm in an area off in that direction, about a mile away. Oh, here we go. Got to get this. And in the evening, this is where they're headed. They spend the evening in a couple of nearby lakes in this area. And what's great about this location, it's kind of hit and miss, but they always fly away from the lake in the morning in wave after wave. Sometimes they come straight toward me. But the reason they're turning around is because they're going to the farm fields. Look at this. Okay, here we go. Look at all these guys leaving now. And what's so encouraging this year, my first time out here at the lake with the swans this season, is we're getting a good cell signal. Now, I've got to believe you're hearing them fairly well. Nice to get out here in time to see several of them. Next time I want to get out here even earlier though. I hope your Wednesday is off to a good start, everybody. And happy Veterans Day, and thank you to all veterans for your service. Look at how they run across that water. So loud, and then in just a few seconds, into formation. And the beautiful grace, from clumsy looking to grace, so graceful, just like that. This is Shadow Lake. I've been coming here for years, Janine. This is the lake featured on my photography website with Swans. If you want to check out some close-up shots of these swans on this lake from years past, markhornerphotography.com/swans. You're welcome. Thank you for asking. They sound like horses galloping down the stretch, don't they? Not the honking, or the trumpeting, if you will. Just that initial sound on the water. So no tripod today. I've got the phone on a gimbal and the DSLR around my neck on a strap. And I'm just shooting with a 50mm. I got another lens with me which would allow me to zoom in, but for the moment just challenging myself to shooting with the 50mm. These guys are heading in a different direction over here. Glad you see the beauty in it. Is it Jagama? Sorry if I'm not saying it correctly. Hi, Deb. Deb, I think you just joined. Many of the Trumpeter Swans have cleared out by now. Several had already left by the time I got down to the water's edge, but there were still a good many here when I arrived. In fact, just as I started to scope, some took off flying generally towards us. Their typical takeoff on the runway of the lake here today has been to come this way and then peel off to the right. And most of them are doing a 180 going back toward the farm fields off in the direct distance there. I've only seen other birds so far this morning. I have been out here on many other occasions where just after sunset, around sunset, I hear coyotes very much in this area. So just to recap for those who haven't heard it from me before, because I've said it so many times over the years on Periscope, but this is one of the primary lakes where the local trumpeter swans spend the evening, and they feel they're safe here. Down at that far end, everything out there is marshy, and over here you have a high bluff, and if you're down in that end of the lake, anything that tries to approach from here is going to be heard. And so they spend the evening in the shallows, and many groups come together. They scatter in the farm fields to graze during the day, and trumpeter swans also do a great deal of eating in the shallows and the mud of these lakes, like this one. And so I feel like they come together, safety in numbers kind of a feeling. Now, that said, this is a really interesting area because bald eagles are also in the area. I've seen bald eagles hunting. Hang on a second, am I hearing snow geese? Where are they? Oh, there they are. Here, I see snow geese. Check this out. They're way up there in a V formation on the move. Do you see them? How about that? Those snow geese come here all the way from Russia. Okay, more swans on the move. Hang on. You do hear them good. You heard the snow geese. And now you've got the trumpeters. Sorry, I was shooting through the DSLR around my neck as well. Anyway, we do have bald eagles very much in this area too. And one of the places, and it's an ideal place to be a bald eagle, is this snag, this lone tree right out there. Sometimes I photographed them in pairs there. And we have some local bald eagle nests as well. I got some sort of dark ducks here. You guys will probably know what they are. I don't. They're feeding here in the shallows, making shallow dives. And I've seen deer down here too. That's a thrill. They bed down in the tall grass. Hello, hope it's all well. Been a while. Lake always mysterious. Well, thank you for joining. Sea scooters. Surf scooters, yeah. Surf scooters are north of us now, Janine. And they're rough. Well, that went rather well for my little photography moment. Hope you got to see it in your frame as well. Shooting blind with periscope there for a moment. Blindly. Awesome. Just heard a hawk. Yeah, they'll be back here tonight. If you look at even several of my recent scopes, I'm out in the evening around sunset and I'm featuring trumpeter swans. And when they fly off or fly overhead, they're headed to this lake primarily and another nearby one. The other nearby one is just a little bit east of here. And I've actually never been to it. It's very close though. And it's got houses around it. This is in what's called the Bob Ehrman Wildlife Area or Wildlife Preserve. And so there's lots of elbow room. And oftentimes I'm the only one here, which I just love. Have I looked for scoters at Clinton Fatty Landing? No, Deb, I haven't. You know what I sometimes see here as well is I believe they're called nutria. That kind of reminds me of beavers or otters. Yeah, there is a big windstorm coming, and it looks like Oregon. Oregon has. I was looking. They were forecasting off the coast of Oregon, you know, out in the deep sea, but some waves up to 80 feet. Anyway, I think Oregon's going to get the brunt of it, but it's definitely going to impact Washington and British Columbia as well. Fatty question mark. Well, Deb, I thought that's what you wrote. Fatty Clinton Fatty Landing. Did you mean ferry landing? I just scrolled up and reread that earlier comment, and it says fatty. And trust me, I am the king of being all thumbs when it comes to texting on a phone. And it can be embarrassing, can it? If you press send or publish. No one kayaking here. Not on this lake. You won't see that here. I don't even think it's allowed. Now, I just noticed there's another photographer here with a big lens on a tripod. This person just showed up. I didn't see them earlier anyway. Looks like they're with a child. You see them through the leaves? Competitors, yeah. Well, normally they're at where I normally go, but I've learned that. So yeah, the photos that feature this lake and swans on my photography gallery, I'm usually over there. But over the years, I've envied the people who are here where I'm standing now, when I see them from time to time on those mornings where the swans come straight this way. I mean, like right at you. Now they've been bending off to our right as they start heading this way. They've been kind of doing a diagonal pattern going this way. But there are mornings where, time and time again, they fly right at me, or this location, and then they just fly right over the treetops overhead. Okay, here we go. Hang on. Now, what was outstanding about that moment just now is I could hear their wings. Not just the, like you're slapping a rug against a post. Not just that sound. I'm talking about the sound of the cushion of air. The I heard it that time. They were close enough to hear that. Circling back. It's always cool when they do that circle. They just gain a little bit more height, and then they still go do another 180 and off toward the farm fields. Along Highway 9, Springhetty Road, Lowell Larimer Road. Still a few out there, and this is the way it plays out again and again every morning. Here we go. See how those webbed feet are just slapping that water, creating splashes, and then they get this grace. For those old enough to remember, it makes for a Marlin Perkins Wild Kingdom kind of moment. Sands Mutual of Omaha. Somebody's hunting across the other side of the river. This is better? Thank you, Liana. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So few swans remaining, I can literally count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Looks like there are 13 swans remaining. When it starts off, there's probably around 100 or so, if not more. And you know another great thing about this spot as opposed to that spot? My feet don't get nearly as dirty, muddy, wet. So today I'm actually getting away with wearing tennis shoes. Normally I would wear my rubber boots out here. I'm hearing geese. I don't know if they're heading this way. Captain Puget, there you go. I'm hearing geese once again, snow geese. I'll be quiet. Let's see if you can hear them. Creating quite a stir. Out towards the river. I tell you what, I've often talked about how the fog forms over the river in the valley and then spreads out, but initially it develops and winds along the valley floor right over the river, much like a snake, you know, slithering its way through the valley. And you're seeing some of that right over the river right there. And when I arrived here this morning, the parking lot's up above. It's above, up in that area. And I could literally look down on fog that was still here, just above the fog. Patches of it. It was really cool. Like a cushion. Okay, I do see snow geese. I don't know how well they'll show up here. They're off in the distance. They're on the move towards the farm fields as well. I see a couple of waves of them. That's one of them. Look for a V formation in the center of your screen. Do you see it? Kind of like scattered pepper on a white tablecloth. And they're more to the right. Oh, I see more over here. Lots more on the move. Just to the left and right of that tree, the big tall tree, and now to the left of it, more snow geese on the move. How about that? I love this time of year. Just love it. Right on, Liana. Nice to have you along. Always a pleasure to engage with folks here on Periscope. Almost always. Done a good job over the years of, with the help of many of you, of keeping it. So it's I would say, quite a positive community here. Well, I'm going to wrap up here soon, and the choice is going to be, do I go back home right away and have that coffee? Or do I go check out the farm fields and look at the Trumpeter Swans and see if, because look at all those geese, they're heading right over towards Springhetty Road. My son used to mule for Bruce Barnbaum, learned a lot about fog photos. Oh, very cool, Dad. I don't know who Bruce is, but that sounds interesting. I'm trying to spot those geese. They're out in that direction towards Springhetty. I'm going to have to go check that out. No, I didn't. If I had gotten up like at 6 a.m., I could have made coffee, brought it with me. The coffee situation's always a catch-22 in a couple of ways. It means getting up earlier, or spending more time, if you got up late, getting out of the door, and then drinking it, and then inevitably, especially as I get older, being in a place where, hey, I had a lot of caffeine this morning. Where's the restroom? TMI? Well, you get that kind of transparency here on Beyond 90 Seconds. Well, the good deal actually here is they do have a porta potty in the parking lot. And I'm not a big fan of porta potties these days, this year especially, but it can come in handy. Yeah, I mentioned, I think a moment ago, that I just love it from September on. I mean, there's so much neat stuff that happens with the change, going from late summer, then into fall, and then now here in the midst of fall. It's such a great time of year. And I recently been revisiting, and I'm going to repost it, kind of repurpose it with a new intro, a video I did back in 2011 about that change of seasons here in the Snohomish Valley. And it's a video that I love. It never really got much traction on YouTube, but I just love the video because it really, I think, it so authentically speaks to what resonates with what's inside of me in terms of what unfolds during that time of year. Now look at that. You see all that splashing? That's that wild galloping on their webbed feet. Like I said a moment ago, horses in the straightaway are taking off at the start of a race, but then, within just a few seconds, they're airborne and they fly low over the water and then get their lift and off they go. Man, I am hearing geese, and Deb and Janine and Triple Tall, more than anyone. You know what that means to me. And so I am going to have to go and investigate. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm seeing 12. I counted 13 before, so my count was off before. Okay, I'm seeing geese over here. They could be headed toward the another spot that's their general direction of travel right now. A couple spots. One is the old Snohomish Monroe. Oh, I'm hearing an eagle. Did you hear that? There is an eagle somewhere over here. Gosh. Okay, eagle over there. Don't see it, but I hear it. And the snow geese, there are some. So they're either going to that location near Lord Hill of the old Snohomish Monroe Highway, or they're going toward, there's a real popular spot near Highway 2. Do you hear them? I mean, they're probably a mile away, if not more. They're clear on the other side of the river. So I could understand if you don't hear them, but man, do I hear them. And there are some more that are visible right here. Hang on. Yep, you hear them good. Welcome back at Deep Southern. I hope the picture is better. I hope the signal is stronger. I hope you can hear me. So there's a whole lot of hoping going on. Please let me know in the comments if this is any better if you were just tuning in a moment ago. We're looking at Trumpeter Swans. Nice. Okay, Deep Southern, thank you. Lona Roar. And Kit says yes. Thank you so much, Kit. All right. I restarted my phone. I don't know. Usually I do get a good signal here. So it better. Oh, thank you very much. Okay. So in between the scope number 2 and this scope number 3, more snow geese arrived. Awesome. And we saw some snow geese out there in those earlier attempts to scope, but more arrived and they're out there. It doesn't always look like there are that many, especially from this far away, but there are quite a few out there actually. Definitely you can hear them. So if they stir, if they stir while we're out here, that'll be interesting to see. Okay, I think that the guys off to my right who just pulled up are hunters, and I bet you they're hunting for geese. So we may hear some shots. So far, it's working. Okay. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'll just, yeah, I think we got some hunters pick up over there, so don't be surprised if we hear some blasts. Sorry about that. Yes, Kit. I'm coming over here too, so you can see that there are even more swans out there in the distance. Yeah, it is land for hunting as well. So not only here in the foreground, but way out there in the distance, you can see some more white dots. Those are trumpeters out there, trumpeter swans. I'm bracing myself for the sound of shotguns because I've had them go off near me, and if I'm not prepared for it, it's quite startling, and I don't want this phone to go flying out of my hand. Okay. Oh, you're most welcome, Wheeler. Pleasure to have you here. Better hide in my house. I think he's leaving. Well, he's starting up the engine of his truck anyway. I've seen hunters out here many times. Deb says they can't shoot swans and few shoot snows. Okay, well that's interesting. I've actually been out and about where I back in December of 2013, so 7 years ago this month. I talked about it here on Periscope before. I've watched these guys just shoot a bunch of thousands of geese that were near their home and just seemed to be doing it for kicks because they came out of their house and they were just standing on their deck. Didn't seem to be any sport to it. So I looked into the hunting issues at that time and found it's kind of like a patchwork quilt when you look at the map for the state of Washington in this area where hunting is allowed and where it isn't on a given day. or time of the year. And it's literally a situation where one field area could be legal and next field over across the highway may not be legal. Snows were shut down for 2 weeks. It opened up, back up on Saturday. Ah, okay. Thanks for that info. Oh, the pickup truck left. Maybe I was a deterrent, or maybe he just figured they were too far away out there. Yeah, I do see deer out here. Absolutely. In fact, I saw deer last night. I was scoping off in the distance in that direction, kind of northern end of Snohomish area called Dutch Hill. And toward the end of the scope last night, we were showing Mount Rainier. There was a deer at dusk that went by. And when I got home and looked at my pictures, I could actually see there were several deer off to the right in one image, just kind of on the edge of the slope that went down toward the valley from the hill. So yeah, and on Springhetty Road, which is on the other side of Highway 9 from here, off in this direction, I've seen large, several deer in a small herd, if you will, crossing the road. Yes, those who do shoot snows do so to protect crops, not for the table. Gotcha, Deb. Yeah, I shot video of it. I didn't know, what had happened on that December day in 2013 was a day where I didn't think I was going to see anything. It was getting kind of late. I didn't see any geese. And I was driving south. I was driving south on Springhetty Road thinking I was going to have to bail. But as I did so, I could see geese coming from the distance. I was actually going north on this little country road, Springhetty Road, and geese were coming from the east, from the right, and approaching and driving, flying over the road. And band after band after band after band of geese were coming. And so, oh, wait, here's a raptor, I think. No, what do we have here? Hang on. Great blue heron? Yeah, that's a great blue heron. Anyway, all of these geese on that day 7 years ago settled down in the same general patch of ground along Springhetty Road. And I got out of my vehicle, parked along the road, and I was actually already recording. I got out of the car as more and more geese. I mean, thousands and thousands of geese. So these various sub flocks all came together. They were forming a major flock on the ground, and so much clamor. And it was a clear blue sky and the snow-capped peaks of the Cascades on that day off in that direction. And I was so excited. I'm thinking this is going to, my back of my head, I'm kind of framing the moment like, oh, they're just arriving. This is going to go on for some period of time. But not long after they all settled, these young guys came out on the patio of the lone nearby house and just started from the patio, the deck, popping off shots. And all these geese took off, they could still feel the flutter, and the clamor of their noise. And as they took, all these thousands of geese took flight, Seahawks fireworks going off and everything. That's what I probably heard off in the distance. I was thinking shotgun maybe, but yeah, probably fireworks. Oh, there goes that. Oh, there goes a loud bang, which is part of the fireworks deal. Anyway, and I was recording this, all of these geese taking off, and sure enough, some fell out of the sky, their wings flapping, and they hit the ground and they tumble along. And I was pretty ticked off at the time, to be honest with you. So I looked. That's what inspired me to look into the local hunting regulations and whether it was legal or not. Turned out it was legal, but I still have the video. I just haven't shown it publicly. Not that moment. I've shown the video of them all arriving and them all leaving, but I never really showed the video with the context of what really unfolded. They beat the winless Jets. Yeah, Tom. You notice I left the game, right? They're up big, and even when they're up big, I don't traditionally leave the game, but they um, they should have won big. And look what Arizona did against the Giants today. Seahawks let that opportunity get away. Yeah. So I'm going to hang here a little longer. The moment I do not have the phone charging, I'm probably down to about 65%. I have it on a gimbal, which would allow, this new gimbal does allow me access to the charging port, so I could do that if we start getting low. It is ugly but legal, usually kids, yeah. That's what kind of got me, is they were just laughing, you know. We back, good. Hey, Bugsy, yes. Yeah, restarted my phone, and the old reliable signal seems to be good once again. You had about 3 dozen geese stop by your pond in Kentucky on their way south. Oh, very nice. Maybe you got some pictures or some video of that? Some of the trumpeters are starting to make a little bit of noise, which indicates some of them will probably be flying off soon. It's getting to be that time of day. As many of you know, they're out here during the day and then they fly out and head for the nearby lakes where they spend the evening. Next time, sorry. Oh, no worries. Any Canada geese you see? I'm not seeing any at the moment, but they're in the area. There are Canada geese in the area. I'm not seeing any at the moment. What we have are a lot of trumpeter swans kind of closer to us. And off in the distance, there are at least several hundred, if not more, snow geese. Once they take flight, that would be nice if they cooperate and do that while we're scoping. And I'll just see if you can make out any dots of white in the distance there. There are patches that stretch clear off into the distance there of white, and those are primarily more trumpeter swans as well. Hey, Bo's mom, we've got a signal now. Seem to be having a much more stable broadcast, so we've probably been going for about 15 minutes now. And just to recap, we have in the foreground some trumpeters, which will be flying out of here soon. Thank you. Thank you, Bugsy. And in the distance, we have snow geese. Last night, while I was scoping from up on Dutch Hill, I could hear snow geese probably a few miles away down in the valley, up on the hill. Well, that's one thing that, as those of you who live in this area or some similar rural area, especially come fall, the sounds just seem to echo, don't they? And nothing says that more, or I shouldn't say echo, I should say carry. They really carry. And nothing says that more, illustrates that point more than the train, the sound of the train, the rumble, and so forth. A lot of booms from Seahawk fans I'm hearing off in the distance now. Hey, Tom, thanks for asking. That's 2 nights in a row. You know what? I think I have a topic. It was a topic I didn't expect to have, but something I stumbled across. And it's an inspiring individual that I learned about. And I'm not going to reach out to interview him or his family members. I think I just want to tell a little bit about the story. for two reasons. Number one is, well, the primary reason is that'll allow me to get it done the fastest, and I don't have a whole lot of time. But I think it could have an inspiring story. I'll tell you what it's about. It's about a guitarist who, back in the late '80s, was um, at the top of his game and really a well-known up-and-comer as a rock guitarist, uniquely talented. And but still, as a young man, what happened was he developed ALS. And the way I found out about him was by some recent release video showing Eddie Van Halen visiting him on home video back in 1996, and it really touched my heart. Well, Eddie Van Halen's gone, but the guitarist is not so young anymore, but he's still very much alive. His father taught, and he developed a method of communicating through the man's eyes and the direction he looks. And this man, through that lone ability to communicate, continues to compose music with the assistance of others and produce wonderful music as a result. And through it all, he's all about love and hope. And I just thought, this is so inspiring to me. And I thought, in the framework of the time of a pandemic, it might help encourage others. So I thought I'd just share that information. If it's not known to, I know it's known to many people, but not probably known to the world at large. And not that would be my audience at the world at large, but if I could even touch one person in a way that might be encouraging, as well as informative, um, that would be a real thing thinking about doing. And I'm probably going to start writing it. So now you got the latest, you got the inside scoop. I think historically, sometimes I challenge myself in my head, and I get so drilled down on, I'm a researcher at heart, and I think with my life schedule, I'm going to have to lean not to go, learn not to always have to go into the deep end of a pool to obsess on something and do all-nighters and things like that, but just to take some appropriate time and not go so deep, and get the story out there and the opportunity to share, because that's what my life affords me right now in terms of time. Those who know me well know that when I tackle a story, I could really obsess on it and go deep, but and do so years. So that is the latest. The time issue is a real one. I know that we all can struggle with that. You live in the old Sherwood North. Can you hear the train and Edmonds? Oh my gosh, Mom, I have to tell you something. This is something else. In 1969, I lived in the Sherwood North apartments on 196th, west of Interstate 5, very near Fred Meyer. Kind of very close to what was the Arby's restaurant. I don't know if there's still an Arby's there or not. How about that? I cannot believe I've heard Sherwood North. I've read the word Sherwood North in my you've kind of taken me back. I'm taking a step back because that brings back a flood of memories. I could go on and on about the park there. My dad, his insurance agent was named Ed By with State Farm, and he was on 196th as well, kind of before you get to 99, just west of the park. I forget the name of the park. Gosh, all the memories. My battery's getting low, so I'm telling you what I'm going to put you on the hook. Better. That's a lesson learned. And we were having a hard time getting a signal. I'm going to put you down for a second. Plug in the charger. The charge should be signal better now. It's amazing the distance that the effect that just a few steps can have on the quality of the signal. So it seems I'm good here. Okay. Here, a bit of climber from those distance, in and out still, Tom. Okay. So no geese are out here. Let's hope that the signal gets better for you guys. Still in and out here. They'll all be leaving soon. Kit, it looks like you're typing. Breaking up. Okay. So having just stepped away, that's a pity. Just walking out of this area and then returning impacted the stability of the overall signal. Is it still breaking up? So I'll just end it. Deb is back. Deb, so you've tried leaving and coming back. Is the signal still poor? Is it still breaking up? Kit is typing. It's better now. Okay, it's getting better. Okay. All right. If it's unwatchable, don't hesitate to let me know. Better, Deb says. Okay, too. All right, good. So clouds moved in overnight, which meant it didn't get as cold as the previous night. I think the overnight low was 39 degrees, whereas the previous night, 2 nights ago, it got down to around freezing. We woke up to frosty streets and rooftops in this area. Your tongue is shoving you and wants to. Hey, no problem, Deb. Go do it. Go for it. By all means, walk the dog. What's your dog's name? If you yeah, before you go, maybe you can let us know your dog's name. I'm hearing a little bit of chatter amongst the trumpeters. Come on. Thanks for that. That's it. I'll just wrap it up. I'll try and get some video or some pictures and share on social. Thanks so much for hanging in there with me. I appreciate the feedback and hope to talk to you guys again soon. Stanley. All right. Give my best to Stanley. Tom's got Bella on Whidbey Island. Deb's got Muckle Hill area. Good night, Kit. Take care.